my learners, the youngest one is 4 years old, and to 11 years old, I have to use a lot of props, being funny. And I've got these penguins and Remy and Animal House to reward them. I don't know if you can see, this is
Hmm.
the time machine I invented to teach them about the year and the month and the date. So I have to come up with all these different fun ways to engage them.
And I also, at the university level, used a whole lot of props. I would use props, different toys or whatever, to make it fun for the students. I was the only one at my university, for the most part, in the language department to use that. But but the students loved it, and they started giving me toys. These are university students. They started giving me toy cars and planes and puppets and everything to use because they loved my childlike heart, which you also share.
I noticed with my young Chinese language learners, when I teach seriously, their body language changed. They tend to go back and merged with the sofa. And this always give me a red flag, knowing, oh, this might work with adults, but with the kids, it doesn't work. So every time I have to review the recording videos of my teaching classroom and think of new ways to engage them. It's
Being a caring teacher like you, and me as someone who was a performer for over 40 years on the violin, but also giving lectures and talking, teaching students, I always kept eye contact with my audience. Well, not when playing the violin, but certainly when teaching, and to gauge their reaction, just like you said, because
mm,
if I could see that they weren't really tracking, and if they didn't laugh at my jokes or whatever about the language, my fairly serious jokes about the language to help them learn, then I knew I wasn't doing enough to engage
yeah.
them.
I've got one story I probably have shared with you already. The 4-year-old boy I'm teaching, he is based in Utah, United States. For 1 month, I've been teaching him Chinese classes every week. He never spoke one word of Chinese. He's either just speaking English, responding to me in English, or he's busy doing his own business. Until one day, I invented a board game. So this is a board game. Everybody pick up a character, Kung Fu Panda or Spider-Man or Superman. Then we throw the dice to go to different destinations, because that lesson we're learning different places, location names. Miraculously, he said ting, which means stop in Chinese, when I was throwing the dice, without me asking, prompting him to speak Chinese at all. That was the magic moment. I realized kids, they are learning, but they are acquiring a language with a speed and with a process quite opaque to me as a teacher. However, when they are having fun, the language just came out very spontaneously from him as he's enjoying doing what he's doing. That was such a wake up moment for me, reminding me constantly try not to really teach in a too seriously way, but come up with games and engagement methods, ways to engage them in a natural, organic context for them to apply the language and naturally pick up the language.
Well, that's very well said. And I think I shared with you that I would have my students, university students, play different games using the language, a little more sophisticated way than with young children, but still, um, they were playing and having fun. And the more laughter that was going on in the classroom, either that I elicited or that they had going when they were doing their conversations and with their friends or playing around, the more I knew they were learning. And I think I told you that many years ago, a student came up to me after studying with me for 2 years, studying Chinese, and he was thanking me for my teaching. And he said, "You're a very sneaky person. very sneaky fellow. And I said, oh, really? I tried to be very open and honest. He said, well, sneaky in the sense that for the last 2 years, I thought we were just playing around in Chinese class. And now I realized I've learned a whole lot of Chinese. And so that's our goal, right? Is to not have teaching be this really deadly serious business. Our goal is deadly serious, to have the students get to know and understand another culture through their language. But in the meantime, to make learning a joyous experience.